We are in the post WrestleMania era now, marching slowly but surely our way to SummerSlam. Got some interesting things that have been revealed and some interesting programs we getting into. And also stay tuned for our spinoff, Pipe Bomb Next Up, where we talk about things that's going on in NXT and AAA. The biggest thing going on right now, which is Roman Reigns going against Jacob Fatu. They had that match at Backlash. Roman Reigns cheated. Jacob Fatu goes off the hinges, beats up on Roman Reigns. Then this past Monday Night Raw, Roman Reigns coming out, hey, he got to acknowledge me. Jacob said, I'm not having any of that. Goes down, beats the hell out of Roman Reigns again, and also put away the Usos separately and all three of them at the same time. So before we get into how this should like play out further, because I like your idea and we're gonna have space for it. What you think of this feud so far between Roman and Jacob?
We found out, 3 weeks ago, very randomly, that hey, all of a sudden, Jacob Fatu was on a power trip and says he wants the World Heavyweight Championship. Just because. It's like, okay, we can roll with that. Anything involving Roman ends up with a lot of talking and not a lot of action. That's just WWE across the board, but Roman especially. And Jacob is above average on the mic. So, as long as he's all gas, no brakes, he can get away with it. Kind of reintroducing the Tongan death grip. I suppose was meant to add a layer to this. I'd like to see Haku, except one of Haku's sons just got fired. And the employment of the other one is kind of up in the air. I don't know how to feel about this, because if it goes to Clash in Italy, I really think Roman should drop the title. I really do. And I know after a lot of getting around the corner, there's my conclusion. It's just really predictable. It's Roman. It's the Usos. It's the bloodline, the tribal chief. We've done this already. And I think some people were kind of clamoring for a return to that. And if they're going to do it, they got to figure out a way that it's not just Hollywood black and white and Kevin Nash red and black. So hopefully Clash in Italy, I think Jacob Fatu should go over. And we go on from there.
First of all, don't turn your back on a wolf pack. You might end up in a body bag.
That's right. Especially when you talk about the wolf. When you're talking about Fatu.
Yeah, Samoan werewolf.
Samoan werewolf.
Interesting. So, because that was going to be like one of my questions. So you think Jacob is ready to carry the mantle as being heavyweight champion? Or do you just not want Roman to have the title now and not have a retreading of the bloodline storylines?
I think it can be both, with the caveat that I think Jacob is ready to hold what is, whether a lot of people want to still believe it or not, is a lower relegated title to the WWE Championship. If Damian Priest can hold the World Heavyweight Championship, so can Jacob Fatu. That's all I got to say about that. I think he's more than capable. Sometimes the man makes the belt, but I think most of the time the belt makes the man. And I think this is a situation where Jacob might need to be wearing the strap.
Interesting. Now, you did came up with an idea. Either way, whoever wins the proposed match at Clash of Italy, you came up with a type of match that I do find interesting. So go ahead and tell us about that.
I loved it. I was sitting on the couch and it just came to me, and I was like, you know what? They need to just have a complete offshoot of the I Quit match, except it's I acknowledge you. Think about it. The entire match, hitting them with the microphone, hitting them with whatever, this, that, and the other. Say it instead of I quit. He's looking for I acknowledge you. And then, every time Jacob might like get an eye out, and then he goes, I'm gonna beat your ass. I would love that. And that's the kind of energy I think WWE needs right now. Think out of the box. There's a difference between thinking out of the box and then throwing everything at the wall and seeing what sticks. And I think that's the mode WWE is in again across the board.
I think it's a fantastic idea. Once again, you claim that you're not a booker and you don't pretend to be, but you book pretty good stuff. I think that's perfect. But I'm just trying to imagine them getting to the point where producing a match that Roman says those words. Actually, it's Roman. Because in your mind, he has to say those words because you want Jacob to have a strap. So I'm down for another match. I like the physicality. I like that this could be the one person Roman's afraid of. Like Roman went through John Cena, Brock Lesnar, Cody Rhodes,
Kevin
names
Owens.
like that. But Kevin Owens. But this is the one guy that he cannot get over mentally and physically. So, hey, let's keep it going. Let's keep it going. But let's go on to Oba Femi. Oba Femi puts forth the Oba Femi challenge after taking down Brock Lesnar. Of course, it's been in spectacular squash fashion, including the one against Otis. I was impressed by that. I thought that was a great showing for like the 4 minutes that it lasted. However, I feel like, and I think people might agree, I don't know if you're going to agree, that it needs to be a little bit more interesting competitors going against Oba Femi. Now, they could play up to the part like people are scared of this guy. I mean, come on, he's billed at what, 6'6, 6'5, 6'6, 310 pounds. Should be afraid of him. But of course, at some point, he's going to face tougher competition, have longer matches. So, what is like a couple names that you want to see take on the Oba Femi challenge?
Well, first of all, I can't say I'm a fan of the challenge. I don't like it. I think we've talked about it. It should be flipped on its head in that, he should be challenging people to come out. Like, I think it would mean more. I think it made a few moments for Otis that was nice, but I'm starting to sense a pattern in the participants who have been chosen for this so far, Otis and Los Garza, to have Oba Femi walk backstage and glad hand their happy asses out to the ring and stomp them, which was awful. Poor Berto. I want to see people against Oba Femi in a program after he has just been fed people and not without the hat on a hat with the open challenge thing. And then we get to people we want to see who are kind of busy right now, and maybe that's why they're doing this, which is a failure on booking. But Gunther, LA Knight, Damian Priest, any and a lot of these people I just mentioned are all on SmackDown. CM Punk comes back. What is so I'm trying to think just up and down Raw. What, you you put Oba against Division, in which I would like to see Oba Femi versus Bronson Reed when Bronson Reed comes back. I would very much like to see that. But I think there could be a natural program going forward with Braun Breaker and the Vision, and I don't see a reason why not to fast start that, even though Oba still relatively new.
I would say, I think you do end the open challenge at some point, maybe at Clash of Italy. Give him like a sizable opponent by name, not by literal size. I'm kind of toying with this idea of
Danhausen
him.
all day long, all day long.
I think Oba should get the IC belt, and I think he should beat Penta for it. I think something should lead up to that.
Okay.
Penta's going against Ethan Page at Saturday Night Main Event on the 23rd. If he retains, then I think that should be something that WWE, because I don't mind him getting a high level belt right now, because he just got it. He got it. Give him the belt. Give him a year run. Some opponents I did right. I wrote down Javon Evans. Give him somebody that can probably bother him as far as like speed and aerial assault, but he prevails. Maybe like a Sheamus. If Sheamus still around, I haven't.
Yeah, where'd he go?
Yeah, where is he? Like that'd be a nice return.
It takes a long time for that boy to get a tan, So, he's working his way back.
Bronson Reed, I do like that. I do like that down the line.
I really do. I forgot. I really do like that, and that's why the only reason I have I think I have like a mental roadblock about the IC championship is that I don't want to say he's above the IC championship, because the Intercontinental Championship has been the stepping stone of everyone. I don't want to risk turning the Intercontinental Championship into the NXT call-up belt, which they're keeping away from that at the moment by having it be with Penta, who was a free agent and came over and really is and has been Intercontinental Championship material, because except for one slip up in the fall, right before Survivor Series, that only left him on the shelf for a couple weeks, he'd been on TV week after week after week after week after week after week. He's a real Iron Man, real workhorse, which is something that the Intercontinental Championship has been associated with as well.
Gunther went against, we already know Gunther went against Seth Rollins WrestleMania as a favor to Paul Heyman, and everybody was wondering what that favor will be. I think me and you both knew that it was going to be like a title match, if not a match with Brock Lesnar, like one of those two. Obviously, the Brock Lesnar thing ain't happening, but he moves on, attacks Cody Rhodes, holds up the belt, and we could have this match at Clash in Italy. So Gunther versus Cody for the title. How should this go down? Because now we're at a point where Gunther can't really take a bad loss, and it's not that bad to lose to Cody Rhodes. But do you make Cody Rhodes drop the belt? You just beat Randy Orton, and is Gunther the right person to, have Cody Rhodes ultimately fall? How you think this should go down?
I think it has to be another one-off thing, and that I would not have said the same thing last year with Gunther and Cody, because we got a one-off between Gunther and Cody when they were both respectively the WWE champion and the World Heavyweight champion at Crown Jewel. But looking at it now, you've injected Ricky Saints into the Cody Rhodes universe, and Gunther seems like, strangely, that he could be aligned with Paul Heyman, even though they both swear they're not, and he would be the only person on SmackDown that he's aligned with. So it doesn't make a lot of sense. But where we're going to end up is Cody Rhodes and CM Punk by the time SummerSlam rolls around. And how that happens, you tell me. But the way that Punk said it was that sometimes championship title shots fall from the sky. And, he's on Raw and Cody's on SmackDown, and who knows? And at least in this case, we know that Gunther's championship shot came down from the sky, and he was on Raw, and now he's on SmackDown. And there have been a few times where you have made it a point to mention that there is still more to tell, and I agree, with Gunther and CM Punk. So why not keep, and this is something from an Attitude Era perspective that I think doesn't get done enough anymore, where you may not be in the championship picture, but you are a main event star. You are in the constellation. You are, if it's Stone Cold and The Rock, The Undertaker is still having matches with Stone Cold on Raw, back when there were wrestling matches on TV. So have this main event constellation where they come in and out between Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Gunther. Hell, if you want to try again, Damian Priest. Like I said, they've injected Ricky Saints. He's certainly not a main event superstar. He would tell you otherwise. However, I think he has all the tools to get there. I think by August, it's going to be Cody Rhodes and CM Punk. But I think Gunther should be involved. And I'm not quite sure how you make it happen.
Make Gunther a Money in the Bank winner.
Oh, that's coming up. I hate Money in the Bank. This.
That's the between time. That's the between time. That's a major shift in stories right there. Like if Gunther lose, if Gunther lose in Italy, he can win Money in the Bank. You can still get that Cody Rhodes CM Punk match at SummerSlam, but Gunther uses the briefcase.
What if they Uno reverse you, and you want to talk about championship opportunities falling from the sky? That Punk wins his third Money in the Bank match, and it's really Rhodes and Gunther on the road to SummerSlam. And Punk says, "You know what? If Rollins can do it, I can do it better."
I feel like
without the fake injuries.
Yeah, I feel like it's just I think the briefcase for Punk's favor worked better when he was a heel and not a face.
He did it once as a face and one as a heel.
Oh, okay, so he did do it as a face.
Yep. His first one.
I feel like the CM Punk now wouldn't do that.
He could be a tweener. He really could. And there's so much that there is so much little crumbs that he's left where if you are a fan of his, or at least if you pay attention to what he has been talking to you about, and you really should, whether you think you don't like him or elsewise, he's told he wants to talk about long-term storytelling, and it's all going to end up in the video package when this comes along at some point. That CM Punk says to Cody Rhodes, "I'm not going to stab you in the back. I'm going to stab you in the front." Just like recently, he's had these interactions with Cody. And I think there's room for him maybe to engage and embrace some tweenerism between face and heel. And I think Punk could absolutely pull that off.
We've talked about this female superstar in the chat. Now let's put it out on the forefront on the show. So Ruca. finally on the main roster. Uh, went against Io Sky recently, lost that match. Stepped into the face of Becky Lynch, but people have noticed that her performances have been shaky. We already know about the botch on Becky Lynch with the Soul Snatcher, couple botches in or botches quote unquote against Io Sky, but also people also point to that the lack of house shows probably have something to do with that. Like she just don't have that much reps with anybody on the main roster. So let me ask you about this, so Ruka, so far. Do you think it's nervousness or do you think she just don't have enough reps?
I think right now in the beginning, it's always going to be about the lack of reps with new people, with new women. That I think that's always going to be some people just go right into it and it's there. But the thing is that there's a big difference between La Primera and Sol Ruca. One has been wrestling in Central America and Mexico and Japan for years, and then came to the United States in Stephanie Backer. And Sol Ruca is NIL, like Oba Femi. And I think she just needs some time. I do think it was a legitimate finish with Io Sky where she botched the Soul Snatcher. I think they did it the way they meant to. That Io just stayed where she was, and Soul did the thing and landed on her face or whatever, and hooked her up for the 1-2-3. And I think that was helpful. I really do. Because if WWE had not stepped in and made it clear to the viewers that this move is an 11 out of 10 difficulty, and when it's pulled off has 11 out of 10 spectacularity, that it also, because of its difficulty, can be a liability to Sol Ruca. And we saw it on Monday. Finally. Everyone's finisher can be reversed in some manner or what have you. But this was really obvious, where she went for the Soul Snatcher and nobody home. And different in a way, for a Swanton Bomb or a 5-star Frog Splash where someone just moves out of the way. Io didn't move out of the way. She just stayed where she was. So there's a different dynamic there. And so I've been complaining that move, it's hard. I can tell. It's a hard move to pull off seamlessly. I can see a lot of ways where if it's not seamless, it almost turns into a stunner. Either, and I've said this before, either she turns it into a pay-per-view move like Stephanie Baker has with the top rope corkscrew, or she gets confident in her ability throughout the match and hits that thing with regularity. Even for as hard as it looks, and it does look hard to pull off. And it looks even better when it's performed to perfection.
Oh, absolutely. I agree with that. First, I agree with all your points about Sol Ruca and how she been on a main roster. And I agree with the Soul Snatcher being a PLE move. Not strictly a PLE move, but like just having more so on that side. And I do kind of see the fusion of can she pull it off? Can she pull it off? She messes up week after week or weeks in between. And then when it comes to that big match, maybe against Becky Lynch for the IC belt, she hits the move to perfection, wins the belt, that puts the icing on the cake on everything. Like I can see it playing up to that as well. Like the veterans on the roster, all of those ladies, they point to her spamming the move or like just trying to hit the move just so she can win a match. Just have them play up to her being so dependent on the move, and then maybe she'll doubt herself, and then in that big match she just pulls it off. Like I could see that too, but going back to the original part, I agree with you. She just need more reps, need more time. We seen what she did in NXT, most recently against Zarya, minus the hitting her head on the table.
Table bump.
But
Oh,
yeah, but So Ruca's a wrestler that to end it all, So Ruca's a wrestler. They just need time, but she's gonna be amazing soon.